All right, they did it again. The Kings are 2-0 against the Golden State Warriors. And I already told you last night at the end of the show, we were going to be lighting that beam, and we did. It was actually a sea of purple outside the Golden One Center last night. Sacramento, they keep showing up and showing out. And the prediction that we keep hearing over and over, Kings in 4. But there was one moment that keeps drawing attention away from the Kings win. Take a look. So this was the play that set Golden One Center on fire last night. The Kings' Domantas Sabonis fell and grabbed Draymond Green's leg. That got Sabonis a technical foul, but Green was ejected after he stomped on Sabonis' stomach. So, of course, we already have the King himself here right now, Kevin John, because, Kevin, you were at the game last night. Last night. Oh, my gosh, it's already Tuesday. Sorry. You were at the game last night inside the arena. What did it feel like after that moment happened?
Well, it was interesting, Alex, because, when we're sitting up in the media section where we're at, we don't always have a close view of the court. So after it happened, we saw Domantas Sabonis laying on the ground, but we knew there was a commotion, but we didn't know what it was. When they showed it on the Jumbotron, and then they showed like a replay, the whole arena stood up and erupted after the replay was shown on the Jumbotron, because you had a close view of this guy stomping Domantas on his chest. And obviously with Draymond Green, we know that he has a reputation that precedes him. He obviously likes to accept the villain role. He's their emotional leader, and he can be a little heated at times. But let's be clear, obviously it started when Domantas Sabonis did grab his ankle. That was the way Draymond retaliated, and you don't want to see that in the sport of basketball.
No, you definitely don't. Now, I do want to mention, though, that the Kings are on their way to San Francisco, Game 3 right around the corner. A lot of people are saying that the energy the Warriors are going to have on their home court, unparalleled, but make no mistake, I mean, the Kings' road record has also been pretty amazing, and they've had the energy since day one.
And they definitely had. And, the Warriors' road record is nothing compared to the Kings. They were 11-30 this season. They obviously lost the last 2 road games here at Sacramento to the Kings, where the Kings have thrived on the road this season. Honestly, I kind of think that they like playing on the road in these hostile environments, because we know Chase Center is not going to give the Kings a very warm welcome. They're going to show them no hospitality on Thursday night. But the Kings are going to embrace that. And if the Kings have taught us anything this year, is that they can rise to the challenge, and not just rise to the challenge, they can exceed that challenge. So it'll definitely be fun to see what happens Thursday.
Well, I look forward to seeing you out there in San Francisco, too. It should be a good time.
Absolutely. I'll bring you something back from San Fran, Alex.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll be ringing a cowbell on the way back.
yeah. We'll see about that.
All right, Kevin. Thanks. All right. But 10 years ago, there was a real shot that none of this would even be happening here in the capital city. The city of Sacramento was in a fight with an ownership group in Seattle looking to move the team. For all the noise at the Golden One Center, you might have never known there was once a lot of noise about moving the Kings somewhere else.
It has been a part of the city's evolution, its growth and everything, so it means a lot. And I think that we really showed it when we were threatened to lose them.
The Kings were just about sold to Seattle, and it took a heroic community effort led by the former mayor, led by the business community, led by the state, led by the fans and the fan base to say, no way are you taking our team.
Before the 2023 playoffs, before the beam, Kings fans fought and won to keep their team.
This is an inclusive city. It's an engaged city, and we fight for what's ours.
That's what perseverance and fight will do for you. We fought very hard to keep them.
It is not done here. This is a dynasty waiting to happen. Knock on wood, Sacramento Kings for life. This is going to be something that you want to keep your eye on if you're an NBA basketball fan.
Former Kings basketball coach and team broadcaster Jerry Reynolds remembered what he thought was going to be the last Kings game ever played in Sacramento.
I know Grant and I were pretty sure, at that time that the team was going to move to Anaheim. I think that was the plan from what we understood. So we felt it'd be our last game, the Kings' last game. And so it was pretty sad. Obviously I just thought it'd really be unfair to the fans, all the support they'd given for the years, and so just one of those really tough times.
Now fans can't imagine Sacramento without the Kings.
I think as time went on, there would have been an obvious void, and it really would have hurt Sacramento.
all the jobs not only that the stadium created, but I would definitely say there's a new culture within Sacramento.
Light the beam!
No doubt about that. All right. And by the way, you just heard from former Kings coach and general manager Jerry Reynolds. Tune in tomorrow for my full interview with Mr. Reynolds about the night that he thought that would be the last time the Kings would play in Sacramento and the team's new era. And the Kings fan pictures, they keep rolling in. We're loving it. And we're asking how you're celebrating. We'll take a look at some of those pictures right after the break. All right, we've been asking what you think Draymond Green's punishment should be for stomping on Domantas Sabonis in yesterday's game. Let's go ahead and read some of your comments. We have someone writing in saying that Draymond Green's punishment should be a 2-game suspension. Another viewer writing in saying that Draymond Green's punishment should be what's already been done. I don't want any excuses for Warriors losses. And then we had another viewer write in saying that Sabonis started it by grabbing and holding his ankle. Don't try to hold a brother down, then complain when he kicks his way to freedom. So those are some of our viewer comments. We're also getting a lot of really awesome pictures too. Obviously, a lot of beam pictures going on. We also have a lot of cute kiddos as well. So we love to see these pictures coming for so many reasons. So make sure you scan that QR code on the screen. And this is one of the reasons why we love to see them, because we get to see things like this. We've got fans making their own beams out here. Danny, he built this one, a mini one at his house, and then he helped our Vita Cantina in Citrus Heights get their own 18-foot beam pole up. And Danny says that he's keeping the Kings fever alive like he's been seeing all around the area.
I've been a Kings fan my whole life since they've been here or whatever, and I've seen the good and the bad and all that or whatever, and everyone's so excited about the beam. So me and my daughter and my son decided, let's get those lights and put a beam out in front of our house. So I see people all day in all the cars. Like today, I must have beat my horn 20 times. Thumbs up to people, got King stuff on. It's pretty crazy. They keep trying and they keep going and they don't give up. And that's a good thing about a good team. When you're playing other good teams or whatever, it always comes down to the last 4 minutes of the game.
We love to see those homemade beams, and keep those pictures and stories coming as you root for the beam team. All you have to do, scan the QR code on your screen. We read all of your texts, all your comments, all your questions, and we love to see all of your pictures. All right, after the break, a story of triumph and community, how a woman got out of homelessness and how the city is working to create more success stories. Tonight, we have a story of a woman who went from homeless in the hospital with a gunshot wound to the face to housed, healthy, and thriving. And she credits her faith and the supportive services that she receives through her housing provider. And we're telling this story not only because her voice is very important, but also because the city of Sacramento is breaking ground on a similar project. So we wanted to see how permanent supportive housing can change a person's life. And Becca Habegger brings us the story of one woman's journey.
I had made some wrong choices in my life, and I ended up getting involved with the wrong man, which caused some domestic violence, which caused me to lean on substances as a coping mechanism. Addiction is a vicious cycle. Abuse is a vicious cycle, and it all stems from individuals not facing the traumas that they have dealt with in their childhood and in life.
One trauma Ashley Clark faced happened after a relapse in 2014.
I ended up actually going back out into the streets, which is where he found me, and I ended up getting shot. I was shot in the face. Yes, and I ended up going to the trauma unit. I ended up having to stay there for about 2 weeks.
It was there, she says, Well Space Health connected her with shelter.
She ended up getting me a bed at Salvation Army, the women's portion. That is where I learned how to have to talk again. I didn't want to talk. I had to get my whole mouth rewired. I only have a scar left from where I was shot at, and then a few other scars over my body. But God is good. I learned about how to serve there, how to talk again. I ended up going to Bible studies, which encouraged me to actually talk and want to be seen by people.
After staying and recovering there a year, Clark got into the Palmer Apartments through Hope Cooperative, which has been providing behavioral health and supportive housing services for people with mental health challenges in the Sacramento area for more than 40 years. She stayed at Palmer Apartments for about a year.
After a year of strenuous drug testing, clean, continuously finishing my courses, finishing my counseling, I have all my certifications here as a reminder not to go back and to make smart choices. They end up allowing me to get an apartment here.
She's at one of Hope Cooperative's permanent supportive housing communities.
I've been here almost 10 years. I've been able to get my GED. They provide counseling here if we need to come into the office. They also give us different toiletries if we need it until I was able to get my own job. They take us to our mental health appointments, doctor's appointments. They even take us to the grocery store if we need to go there until we get our own transportation. In the first 3 years, it was hard for me to be okay, to not have to struggle or hustle or grind, and to just be okay that all my bills are paid. My children are safe. I'm safe. He doesn't know where I am and he can't find me, and everything's all right.
Soon, more people will have access to this kind of help. This week, Hope Cooperative, in partnership with Accelerate Housing Group and the City of Sacramento, broke ground on a new permanent supportive housing development in North Sacramento. It's called North Viewpoint, and it's located off Northgate Boulevard near Garden Highway. Set to open summer of 2024, North Point will eventually be able to house about 100 people. It will include wraparound services to support people as they transition out of homelessness, something that meant a changed life for Ashley Clark.
As of the last 2 years, I became a drug and alcohol counselor myself. Through Intercoast College, I went and got certified. I love the Lord. He has redeemed me. My children are healthy and well. I just thank you, Hope Cooperative, for all that you do. And I thank you, Becca, for just this opportunity.
Now, Hope Cooperative will provide these wraparound services at the new North Sacramento Permanent Supportive Housing, and the funding for that comes from state and federal dollars. And here are some other stories that people are talking about today. A technology glitch led to a nationwide ground stop of all Southwest flights. More than 1,700 flights were delayed, mostly on the East Coast. Southwest says that a vendor-supplied firewall went down this morning, causing the outage. The flights resumed at about 8 a.m. And then a car crashed into the second story of a home in Placer County this weekend. PG&E had to shut off power to the area while crews worked to rescue the driver with some rope. The driver was the only person hurt, and the crash is under investigation. And Fox News has settled its defamation lawsuit with Dominion Voting Systems for more than $787 million. This involved claims of election misinformation broadcast after the 2020 presidential election. The deal keeps this case out of court and avoids trial. Jurors had just been sworn in today. And we had a historic winter with days of what felt like endless amounts of rain and snow. But is California wasting opportunities to save water? The ABC 10 weather team has been looking into this question in their upcoming series, Water Wasted. And tonight, Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods is taking a look at water infrastructure in our state.
Water access in California comes down to one fundamental issue: managing scarcity. Jeffrey Mount with the Public Policy Institute of California and Professor Emeritus at the University of California, Davis says 2 out of 3 years are typically dry in the state, and summers are critically dry, forcing us to capture every drop we can.
We rely on a system of storage where we capture winter runoff and we store it in reservoirs and we store it in groundwater. And so those are our two big storage, but that's not it. Remember, 75% of the precipitation is north of Sacramento and 75% of its use is south of Sacramento. So we have one of the world's most elaborate conveyance systems where we move water vast distances in California. If it isn't for that storage and those conveyance systems, we really couldn't exist here in California. We wouldn't be the economic powerhouse we are without that.
He says we have about 1,500 reservoirs in the state, which can hold about the amount of water we use every year. But they are no longer just used for water supply. It's flood control, hydropower, recreation, and the environment, leading some to wonder, are we asking too much of these reservoirs? Can they serve multiple purposes?
That trade-off between flood management and water supply is there's always that tension that occurs, particularly in a wet year like this one. People want a full reservoir, right? Well, the flood management was like an empty reservoir. And so that tension is, we struggle with all our major reservoirs here in California.
And we're already hearing from some of you, so we are literally bringing your questions to Monica.
Right.
I want to make sure I get this right because Craig, he wants to know about Sites Reservoir to our west in Maxville. He wants to know what's taking so long.
It's a valid question, Craig, because it's been about 40 years in the planning stage, and it's still about a decade away from coming online, and that's because of water rights, permitting, and environmental review.
Few things there going on.
Yeah, right?
But even if it does take some time, why not just build more reservoirs to help with California's need for more water?
Well, Dr. Mount says the era of big dam building is done for two reasons: economics and location. We've built our dams in all the prime locations where we have the best access to snowmelt. Also, it's hard to justify the economics. When we built our dams, we had a lot of help from the federal government. The federal government is not really helping to flip the huge bill that it would take to build those reservoirs. Plus, it's a trickle down to the consumer. We talk about this figure, roughly about 80% of the human use of water goes to agriculture. If that water gets too expensive, you can't grow crops with it. Dr. Mount says there's a magic number in there. It's about $1,500 an acre foot. And once you get to that above $1,500 an acre foot to pay for water, you can't even grow something like almonds, which has a very high economic value based on the amount of water it's taking to grow those almonds. So ultimately, it comes down to who's going to pay for it.
Money.
Right? Oh, yeah.
But how do we address the desire for more water, especially when we're looking at places like Central California, Southern California? What do we do?
Well, the answer right now is going to be groundwater, and that's what meteorologist Carly Gomez will be looking at tomorrow on To The Point at 6:30.
Yep, and on Thursday, April 20th, all ABC News programs and platforms will be featuring content about the issues surrounding water. You can catch The Power of Water on all ABC News platforms this Thursday. And let's take a look outside. Luckily, we have a meteorologist right here.
I know, and it seems like all the water just keeps coming. We're still looking at snow right now for Tahoe. As we look outside, we've got a mix of sun and clouds in the valley, but it's cool, Alex. Temperature is only about 60 for Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto, and Marysville, with winds at about 10 miles per hour. It's going to be a big change in our 10-day forecast. You can see it playing out here. Highs will be warming into the low 80s on Saturday and Sunday. Really cool that we've got the Lyrid meteor shower coming our way, peaking this weekend. And then, of course, if needed, we've got the Kings game next Wednesday.
Okay, with all of the games the Kings have won this season, the talk of the town has been all about that beautiful purple beam in the sky. But how did the masterpiece come about? We had Mark S. Allen dig into its history. Take a look.
Forget if you build it, they will come. The new phrase is, win the game, light the beam. Now, shortly after you hear this, you see this, beaming up as far as the eye can see. Now 1,600 watts strong, the most powerful decorative laser in the world. After each win, a VIP such as 50 Cent or De'Aaron Fox hit the button to light the beam. The beam's created by New Salt Lasers, Inc. out of Folsom. If you've been to a Black Eyed Peas concert, you've seen their work. The chant, light the beam, even travels. Listen to it interrupt this LA Lakers game.
And there's the sounds.
John M. Reinhart, president of the Kings operations, has said it was inspired by cabin lighting on a Virgin Airlines flight and his previous team's mission.
If we mark its history, what is the absolute genesis of the idea to have that beam shoot into space?
You know, one of the things with the beam was, in my experiences down in Anaheim when I was working for the Angels and Ducks, they do something down there that was light the halo every time the Angels won. And, one of the things that, we talked about wanting to do is just find what that is for us. What can we connect our fans with, what we connect our city with. And the beam is what was born out of that. We wanted to do something that really kind of created a tradition here in Sacramento. And, the team has done a great job at, getting this beam out lit, and the fans have embraced it, the city's embraced it, the team has embraced it. It's just been great.
I love that story. I was just learning so much about the beam. I love it. All right. And help us get ready for Game 3, sharing your Kings pictures, videos, and all of your stories. You can text us at 916-321-3310 or you can email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. We also want to hear why you love the Kings so much. Let us know where you're also watching Game 3. Are you going to be in town? Are you heading to San Francisco? Let me go with you. Would love to do that. All right, but share all of your pictures. And a huge thank you to everyone who has already shared all of your memories. We love to see them. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.